Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on InRange. We are doing another mud test today. Now, in light of our mud test of the Mouse Nagant, a lot of people asked, and we ourselves are genuinely curious as well, what about the dust cover on the Arisaka? That's presumably why they put that on there, protect it from exactly this sort of thing. So how well would that actually work? And today we're going to find out. Now this is a Type 38 Arisaka. The 38 and the 99 have bolt mechanisms that are mechanically exactly identical. They have dust covers that are functionally identical. They're not quite interchangeable, close, but not quite. So by doing the Type 38, because we happen to have kind of a beater here, we can cover both. This will be a valid test for both the 38 and the 99. So what we're going to do procedure-wise, I'm going to fire a 5-round clip of 6.5 Japanese ammo through this, just to confirm that it does in fact work. Then we're going to load it up, close the bolt with the dust cover in place, slather it with mud, attempt to fire 5 more rounds. If that works, we will then remove the dust cover, load another 5 rounds, and re-mud the thing, and see what happens when we have the same test without the dust cover on. So, let's go ahead and get started. This one you can't quite do left-handed like that. Very, very pleasant gun to shoot. Now, Carl, if you would toss me another clip of ammunition, please. Thank you. All right, we are loaded up. We will engage the safety. Hopefully I'll be able to disengage that. Let's go ahead and do the mud. I think that's pretty well covered all the relevant parts. By the way, for those of you who think that this is an absolutely absurd test, we actually got our hands on a copy of the US military mud testing regimen, and it's worse than this. They actually completely submerge the gun and leave it there for 60 seconds. So we give it a shake just kind of to clear the loose. And then safety disengaged successfully. We always know the first shot's going to go. Oh. Ooh, so I've got some mud on the chamber, on the cartridge head here, which isn't a good thing. Clear that a little bit. There we go. All right, can I remediate this? Can't get it to lock into battery. All right, so what I'm seeing is a little bit of mud in the locking lugs, and that's what's giving us some of our problem here. And then we had a little bit get into this open hole in the back of the dust cover where you really can't have a solid dust cover because you've got to be able to move the bolt in it. Oh, that's what happened. We got mud into the locking lugs because it actually came down through the 2 gas vent holes. I didn't even think about that. So there are two holes in the top of a Type 38 receiver. There's only one in a 99, but it's a little bigger. And they are there so that if your case ruptures, the venting gas will come up out the top of the receiver instead of blowing back into the shooter's face. Didn't even think about that. With the gun completely submerged, with coating the top of it in mud the way we did, mud went down through those two holes, and that was, I think, probably most of what was preventing me from actually locking this in battery. You think we should do this without the dust cover?
I don't know, would you consider that a pass? Once you made it in the battery once, it worked okay.
It did. Yep, you can see, you get a close-up right there. You can see the dust cover does not cover those gas vent holes. And it can't, because if it did cover those gas vent holes, that would obviate the whole purpose of having the gas vent holes there in the first place.
What I think might be a more... Alright, we cleaned the rifle, and Private Fumbleson has realized that the gas holes are plugged with mud. We're wondering if we put more mud on the gun now with a dust cover on it, will that prevent more mud from getting into the action? Let's find out, Private Fumbleson.
Hi. And in case that it doesn't work, there we go. Now we're ready for all occurrences. Got 5 more rounds. Safety engaged, rifle loaded, more mud. Now, with these gas holes already plugged, they would, in fact, they would still fulfill their function if I had a ruptured cartridge, because that dried mud in there will blow right out in front of any leaking gas. So, probably want some in the safety too, don't we? All right. That work?
Yes.
Safety disengaged. Again, we always know the first round's gonna work. Hey! Success!
I think that passed. The gas hole thing is interesting, but
Yep.
that very well could get plugged in the field already, like we showed. And that mud dust cover absolutely did its work.
And I was able to get the gun firing without using water, without having to do anything really fancy. Knowing now that it was those two gas holes, what you actually need to do to clean it once you get it open is get in there with your finger and just kind of wipe the chunk of mud out of the locking lug recess. So, you know what? That dust cover does its job. Now, the Japanese Army did stop making and including and issuing those dust covers a little ways into World War II as part of their general program of simplifying the Type 99 rifle. And then a lot of these dust covers are missing today. And there are a couple different stories and common knowledge myths as to why. As best I can tell, the most reasonable explanation is actually that American servicemen threw them away. If you took an Arisaka as a souvenir, when you got on a troop ship to come home, either during the war or after the occupation, the officers in your unit would typically take all the bolts out of all the souvenir rifles and stick them in a bin so that you didn't have guys shooting each other with Arisakas over poker, gambling debts or anything on the ship. When they put the bolts back in, this is actually part of the reason why a lot of Arisakas are mismatched, is because they didn't necessarily pay any attention to which bolt was going in which rifle. In addition, once you take this bolt out, that dust cover is just loose. And I think a lot of them simply got discarded as unnecessary at that point. If you were a Japanese soldier, this rifle is a symbol of your responsibility to emperor and country, and you're not going to just randomly throw away bits of gear. These don't rattle when they're closed. They rattle a little bit when they're open, but you know what? The bolt rattles when it's open on pretty much all bolt actions. So I think a lot of the myth about why these parts are missing isn't actually accurate. And you know what? I think if I were a Japanese soldier in the field, I'd just soon leave that on there. It's nice to have the rifle protected. So Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you enjoy this sort of content, please consider checking out our Patreon page. Lets us, big part of the funding that allows us to do things like buy boxes of ludicrously expensive 6.5 Japanese ammo to do tests like this. So if you can't afford it, obviously we understand. Just enjoy the video, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channels on YouTube and Full30. Thanks for watching.
Hey guys, Arizona mud, people have said it's like cement, and it is. It's dry now and it's turning into cement. But I wanted to show you the Arisaka with the cover. Oops. Still running. Grindy, sandpapery, functional.